Hello everyone, welcome to a very time-sensitive video that I want to put out as soon as possible, so I hope y'all can forgive my lack of on-camera presence for the day. Plus it is so hot that I can't really be on camera during the middle of the day recording because of the heat. I'm just sweating bullets the entire time. I am in the process of trying to get a little cooler out here in my studio, little air quotes around that. But until I do get that, I probably have to record in the evenings, but like I said, I want to get this video out ASAP because it is time sensitive. And so today what I'm going to be doing is going through the big Steam summer sale and how it relates to games that I personally recommend. So these are 33 games, mostly shmups and arcade games that I want to recommend before the sale comes to the end. And I think the sale is going to end on the 8th, so you got about 2 days from this posting to get these games picked up. And so I'm going to go through this list here, and just because a game isn't on the list, that doesn't mean that it's not good or anything like that. These are just games that I personally have in my library that I do spend time playing and do think they are worthwhile. So I'm going to go through this list. The ones on the top of the list stand out to me as the most immediate, impressive sales. But as we go through, I'm going to give you a nice variety, so the order of the list isn't really all that important. This is just sort of what comes to mind as games that you're definitely going to check out. So number one at the top of the list is Mushihime-sama, on sale for 65%. At $7 or about $7. I'm not going to give the exact totals, mostly just round them up to the nearest 50 cents. So Mushihime-sama, absolutely have to pick that out. I have a review about why this game is so amazing on the Switch, but if you want to pick it up on Steam, which is still my preferred way to play the game, get that. Number two, Hellsinker, a very underrated indie shmup. I am going to be covering this on the channel very soon here. Extremely creative, extremely interesting. You might want to buy it and then wait for my video to come out because playing it is a little bit complicated, and sort of the reason why I haven't played it or reviewed it yet is because of the complicated control scheme. But I think once you get the hang of it, a lot of really talented shmup players love this game and it is awesome to watch. I think it's extremely creative. If you're a fan of treasure games like Ikaruga or Radiant Silvergun, Hellsinker is in that line, I think, of creative, interesting shmup. So definitely check that out. That's off 50% for $5. Number three, Blue Revolver, 50% off. You can pick it up for $7.50. I recommend this sale with a little bit of guilt because I remember in my interview with the developer of Blue Revolver, Danbo, he talked about how sometimes the Steam sales culture can actually sort of hurt the developer because, you know, they're taking a very hefty cut in possible revenue. So I would say, if you can, not only should you pick up Blue Revolver and these other games at these great discounts, but maybe if you're generous at heart, also pick some extra copies up and just send them to your friends or fellow shmuppers as gifts, because that's really a win-win for everyone. So if you could do that, that'd also be really cool. Number four, Dodonpachi Resurrection. Again, you're going to see all the cave shmups on here at some point in the list. Dodonpachi Resurrection is incredibly popular right now. I would say it is probably the most popular shmup being played by most shmup players. For example, it has a really strong presence in Slam 4. It has a lot of really active players. It is a really well-liked game. The package has a ton of stuff in it as well, so picking it up for $10.50, absolutely worth it. Then up next, Crimson Clover World Ignition. This is not World Explosion, which is the Steam version, which is a little bit more updated. No, this is the previous version, World Ignition, which is a very strong port and one of the best shmups ever made. And what's interesting about Crimson Clover is that on Steam it has this sort of interesting relationship with sales because it is often on sale. So I wouldn't be surprised if most viewers already have this game in their library for very cheap. I remember when I did my very first giveaway, I bought like 10 copies of Crimson Clover for $2.50. Which it is today, so 75% off for $2.50. I'm really interested in seeing what they're going to do when they bring World Explosion to Steam, because I don't think they're going to be able to move World Explosion at a lower rate because of the console port. So this might be one of your last chances to actually pick up Crimson Clover at this low of a price point, but we'll see. Then of course, Ikaruga, 50% off, $5. I actually did buy Ikaruga 50% off myself, even though I already have this game on the Cube and on the Switch. Might as well round out the collection and pick it up on the Steam port, which I'm probably going to be reviewing soon. So can't go wrong with Ikaruga, a treasure classic. And then after that, we have Deathsmiles, 65% off at $7. Deathsmiles is another very incredible cave shmup. One of my favorites, probably my favorite horizontal shmup of all time. So a fair bit of warning, the Steam port does lack some slowdown that you get in the 360 port. So of the two ports, the 360 port is still better, but because it's on Steam, it does have a very active player base, and at the very least, if you still have the 360 port, it might still be worthwhile to pick up the Steam port just to check out all the awesome replays and everything like that in the leaderboard. So yeah, 65% off, can't go wrong there. Up next, Fighting Rage. So this isn't a shmup, but it has to be on the list because it is my favorite beat 'em up of all time, and it is 75% off. That is a huge, deep discount. So this is the best sale I've ever seen on this game. If you're a fan of beat 'em ups at all, do not hesitate. Get this now for $5. Send it to your friends because I don't think it's going to be at this price for very long. Then after that, Danmaku Unlimited 3, 50% off for $5. Danmaku Unlimited 3 was one of the very first shmups that I really got into alongside Dodonpachi. If you look at this channel's earlier history, you'll see a ton of videos about Danmaku Unlimited 3. I played it live in Shmup Slam 2 and mistakenly thought I got the world record in a certain mode in the game, but it turned out there was a hidden leaderboard I didn't know about. That's a whole funny little story. But nonetheless, I've spent probably hundreds of hours on this game. I think it is pretty underrated, even though it has a bit more mainstream recognition than a lot of other shmups. I think among shmup players, it tends to get a little bit underrated, so can't go wrong there. A word of warning though, you tend to need a bit of a beefier PC to run this at full power. Unlike a lot of other shmups, it does chew into your graphics card pretty good, so make sure you got the hardware to back it up if you can. After that, Zero Ranger for 25% off. Now, Zero Ranger isn't quite as heavy of a discount as the other games, but it's Zero Ranger, one of my favorite shmups of all time, probably my favorite indie shmup of all time. I'm going to be playing it in Slam 4. I'm going to have content around this for as long as this game is around and updated. I mean, it is just an all-time classic. If you're a fan of treasure games, especially Radiant Silvergun, you cannot go wrong with Zero Ranger. It feels like the closest game you'll ever get to Radiant Silvergun, having recently played a bunch of it. So check it out for $9. Still a discount, so can't go wrong there. Then up 50% off. This one you got to pick up. Exceed Third Jade. I'm not going to say the whole title because it's forever. So if you ever wondered what it would be like if Cave and Toho had a baby, it's Exceed Third Jade Penetrate Black Package, and it's 50% off for $3. Absolutely worth the price. You cannot go wrong there. And then after that, Blazing Chrome, 60% off for $7. Blazing Chrome is a fantastic run and gun in the vein of Contra. So if you're a fan of the Contra series and you want to see a newer update to the concept, Blazing Chrome really has you covered there. I've beaten the game many times. I still think I haven't done my official review of the game, though I did a review play a long time ago, but keep an eye out because I'm pretty sure I'm going to do an official review of Blazing Chrome soon enough, and so before then might as well pick it up for 60% off. After that, Super Hydora, a very good shmup that we don't tend to talk about too much. It is in the vein of Gradius, so if you're a fan of the Gradius games, get Super Hydora. I think it's the best example of at least that I'm aware of a modern indie shmup that does a really good job of giving you the taste and experience of a classic Gradius style game. I think it is better than stuff like R-Type Final 2, so I guess if you want to see my alternate recommendation to R-Type Final 2, I would say get Super Hydora. Then after that, these two, I'll kind of just bundle them together. Toho Fantastic Danmaku Festival 1 and 2 are both on sale. What's really cool about these Toho games and sort of sets them apart from the other Toho fan games or whatever you want to call them is their attention to detail with the graphics and the visuals, and that's what I think Toho struggles with the most as a game. Toho has a lot of things going for it, the music, the gameplay itself, but even if you're a fan of Toho, you cannot deny that the graphics are a weak point for the series. Even if you are into that moe style, they could moe it much better and it could look a lot better, and I think Fantastic Danmaku Shooting Festival is a great example of if Zun stepped up the production values, I think it could go really long towards making the series even more popular. So check both of these games out. One's 50% off, one's 45% off, but they're both very good. And after that, this isn't a shmup or even an arcade game, but I have to just say it because it's one of my favorite games of all time. And among the two 3D games that I love the most, those being Ninja Gaiden 2 and this game, Resident Evil 4 on Steam, a very strong port, and it's 75% off for $5. Can you go wrong buying Resi 4 for $5? So if you don't own Resi 4 already, which I wouldn't be surprised if every single one of you owned it, but in case you don't, this is a great chance to pick it up on Steam, which I think is the best port of the game, especially with the mods and all that fun stuff. Then after that, the Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle, 50% off. This is actually a really good bundle. Capcom, I'm going to do another review on this pretty soon. It was supposed to come out last month during Beat 'em Up month, but schedule got confined. It's still going to come out, and this is a very good collection of games. If nothing else, you should pick it up just for the Armored game, because that is one hell of a beat 'em up. If you want the ultimate Gundam experience in beat 'em up form, that's the game to have it covered. It's a really cool beat 'em up. There are also other really great games on this collection as well, but at the very least, that game is worth the price alone. Then after that, Castle of Shikigami, 60% off for $5. So the Shikigami series is one of those sleeper cult classic style shmups that a certain section of the shmup fan base absolutely love these games. They're hard to sort of describe for people who haven't played them before, but they're kind of like this interesting cross between maybe like a Saikyo and a Toho and some Cave. It's got its own flavor. It's really cool, and having it on Steam and on a really nice PC port is worthwhile. I personally don't own the PC board. Well, I actually just bought it, so I don't know how strong it is, but I would take a guess that it's probably worth $5, which it is on sale for right now. After that, 10 and Till. So this is a really cool doujin shmup that was, for a long time, you were only able to get on DL site and stuff like that, but it finally made its way to Steam for people who are into the Steam thing. 50% off for $6. Again, a very cool shmup, and it has graphics that remind me a lot of Super Nintendo RPGs, stuff like Secret of Mana, and it has a very interesting difficulty curve where the game length is actually much longer than you tend to find among other shmups, and it has a very gradual increase in difficulty. And the hitbox is comically small. I actually think it is literally 1 pixel, so you can dodge things that you never thought were possible. It's a really cool game, and something I probably am going to have to do an official video on at some point in the future. So if you want to get it on Steam, on sale for $6. After that, Streets of Rage 4. I'd pick it up now because there's a new DLC coming out for it. Streets of Rage 4 is a fantastic beat 'em up. A little bit controversial among some fans of the series, but I still think just as a beat 'em up, it is a very good game. It is 40% off for $15, so that's a really good deal. Go ahead and pick that up. After that, Raiden 4 Overkill. This is probably one of the deepest discounts on this list for 85% off. That's $2.50. I would absolutely agree that Raiden 4 is definitely worth $2.50. I didn't put Raiden 5 on the list because I'm not a huge fan of Raiden 5, but I am a fan of Raiden 4, so I would absolutely pick this up if you don't already have it. And again, at this price point, maybe send it to some of your friends. After that, Refrain Prism Memories. This is another shmup that is very, very good, very underrated, and often overlooked. It's a doujin shmup that made its way to Steam, I guess a little while back. It was one of the very first shmups I ever viewed on this channel, funnily enough, and it is a really cool game. I think I might have to revisit the review now that I'm a little bit better at the whole YouTubing thing. It sort of reminds me of a Treasure game with the way they do the 3D graphics, and it's got a little bit better presentation than just flat backgrounds. It does stuff with the cameras. The scoring system is really cool. It's got like supers, and it's a very fun game and something I want to dig into more, and I can't recommend it enough, and the soundtrack is also really cool. So check out Refrain Prism Memories. Super XYX up next, 30% off for $7. This is a really fun shmup, kind of a cross between a toe plan and a cave that's a little bit redundant, but you know what I mean, like the older style of toe plan, but a little bit updated. I guess you're a fan of Truxton or Batsugun, sort of in that area. You're going to really enjoy this game, and I think it was based off of some other Dreamcast game. It gets a little bit confusing, the family tree of these games, but I recommended it in a video a long time ago, and I think it is very good. 30% off, $7. Definitely check that out. Then up next is Eschatos. So I think when I did my greatest shmups of all time, a lot of people mentioned shmups that I snubbed, and the difficulty with doing those types of lists is that you literally cannot fit all the great games into those lists because there's just so many. But I will say I think Eschatos is the official snub of that list because I think it deserves to be on there for its creativity and for being a certain style of shmup that isn't really represented anywhere else, and it is 50% off at $7.50. It is a classic of the Shmup Slam series. It's been in a lot of live shmup events as well. It's a really cool game, especially the scoring, time attack mode, and everything like that. So check out Eschatos. After that, Tengoku Cruisin Mix Special. This is a game that I actually picked up because of this sale. I didn't own it before. I don't have an official verdict on this game yet, but it is a Jaleco game, and I'm developing a soft spot for Jaleco because of their other games. They kind of remind me of like a crazier, jankier version of Capcom or something like that. and I definitely want to check this game out. It's a cute 'em up. There's a ton of content in there. I'll have to give you my final verdict when I do my review of this, but at $10.50, I'm willing to wager that it's worth your money while the sale still lasts. After that, Kamui for 50% off at $6. Again, Kamui is not the shmup player. Kamui, there's actually a game called Kamui, so that can get a little bit confusing. For those who do not know, Kamui is one of the best Battle Garuga players of all time. So I didn't actually know this game referred to its own game, but it is its own game. I haven't played it much yet, but just the little bit of poking around that I've done with it, it does seem to be very quality, and I do know a lot of players really enjoy it, and so I'd pick that up while you still can. Along those same lines, Gray's Counter, another popular shmup at 70% off for $3. I don't think you can go wrong with Gray's Counter at this price point either. I've seen a lot of people play it and enjoy it. Again, I don't have personal experience with this game, but I think it's worthwhile as far as recommendations. After that, a non-shmup, but you all know I love character action, and Bayonetta is on sale for 75%. Another deep discount, $5 Bayonetta. If you don't have it on Steam, I would pick it up on Steam at this rate, even if you already have it on the other consoles, just for the, the quality of life that you get on PC gameplay. And again, one of the best character action games around. Then after that, Judgement Silversword. So this is a really cool game and probably my favorite of the Eschatos family, the QT or Cute or however you pronounce that studio's family line. I really like this game a lot, and I believe it came out for the Wonder Swan at some point, or there's a little bit of interesting history. What's also cool about this game is that it has high frame rate modes. It's one of the very few shmups I've ever seen with high frame rate modes, so you can play this thing in 120 hertz, which is really cool. It used to be in a lot of the older shmup slams as well, so if you want to see some gameplay footage of this game in action, check out some of the older shmup slam events. There's Judgement Silversword runs that are very excellent, so check that out. After that, Devil Daggers. So this is kind of an interesting pick because it's a first-person shooter. This channel doesn't really cover many first-person shooters, but the thing about this game that stands out to me is it's basically built to be an arcade game in a first-person shooter body. It feels like it's very heavily inspired by shmups, both because of the way the scoring system works, but even the way your shot works and how simple it is and how you can do a lot of creative things with the strategy, and it just stands out. It's score play rather than other first-person shooters, which are more multiplayer focused. It is a really cool game and very difficult, and I spent a lot of time grinding out runs and had a fantastic time doing so. Again, one of those games that's on my list to sneak a review on this channel or do some kind of content around it on this channel because it is a really cool game. And at $3, I don't think you're going to go wrong there. And I do love the PS1 sort of Diablo-esque looking graphics. It's really cool. And then after that, we have Crisis Wing, which, despite the way the title sounds, is not a hospital sim game, is actually a shmup and based heavily on the Truxton series. So if you want Truxton action, if you want a sequel to Truxton, this is basically the closest you're going to get. It's a very fun game. I have a review it on the channel as well if you want to check that review out. And at 25%, it's not as deep of a discount, but it is still definitely worth $6, so I added it to the list. After that, these last two games are newer releases, so it makes sense that their discounts aren't as steep, but they're still worthwhile checking out, and I'm gonna pick up one of these probably after this video airs. Natsuki Chronicles at 20% off, I'm hoping that's how you pronounce it, for $16. This game for a long time I believe was an Xbox One exclusive, finally made its way to other places, and it's something that a lot of shmup players are really into and are really enjoying, so check that out. Then lastly, we have Jinja Force. I'm not sure how you're supposed to say that, but I always think you need a slight accent whenever you say it. It's 20% off at $16, just like Natsuki Chronicles. So those two are sort of sibling games, and while I haven't played it, I've seen a lot of recommendations for it, and it does seem to be really popular. So these are the 33 games that I'm recommending for your Steam summer sale to get them into your library. Again, if there's a game that I missed or a game that you think is really cool that's on sale, go ahead and leave it in the comments, and I'm hoping to get this out to you all soon enough that you don't actually miss the sale by the time this goes up. I believe the sale ends July 8th, so we got a good 2 days. So please like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and enjoy the games. Adios, everyone. So thank you to the $5 patrons, 172 PCT Water, Adam Pearson, Ukshay Wadker, Dingo, Handicapped, Another Joe, Anthony A, Aaron Solis, B. Reality, Ben Win, Borgie22, Brian Reboot, Brian Shiver, Chris Yuzefovich, Chronic Burnout 3, Choreo, Danielle Savage, Delta Tango 6, Disco Stas Leia, Eric H, Frank Carter, Full Set, Retro Shmupper, Geriatric Danmaku, Haosu, Ilya, Kiwi, JLab, JB RPG, Joe Angelo, John Kelly, Gameboy Gru, K, K2, Kiko Man 589, Larridge, Malaise, Mark Toms, Maz, Meher Kalendrian, Minong, Queen Charlene, Nathaniel Davis, and Electron, Neon Dagger Games, Okla Kugels, Philip Mason, Portal 63, Raul, Real Skeen, Sketchy Raccoon, SLW, The Boot Rex, The Real Ikuzo, TRM, Sugumo, Yishi, Plasmo, and Utsukaya. Thanks for watching.